Hi, this is Lee Ellis with another installment of Leading with Honor Coaching. We've been through a couple of years now, almost 2 years of COVID, and we've been under attack from everything imaginable. Our psyche, our health even has been stressed. And now we're having to face a world that's going to be changing probably continually, and it's going to be stressful. It's hard to adapt sometimes. Sometimes we have doubts about ourselves. We have doubts and fears about what's going to happen. And one of the things that's most important, I think, is you have to believe in yourself, regardless of all the things that are going on around you, regardless of setbacks that you may cause, errors you may make, mistakes. We still have to bounce back. We have to remember who we are and what we stand for. And when we do that, we can coach ourselves back into a new situation, a new way of feeling, a new way of responding in a way that's healthy and helpful for ourselves and others. Well, the World Series kind of has some great lessons for us there, believe it or not. Baseball can be a little boring sometimes, 160 games a year. But when it gets down to the World Series, every pitch can get important, especially when the Braves were playing in Game 6 recently. And if they won that game, they would win the World Series and be the world champion. Well, the Braves weren't doing so well in midsummer. At the All-Star break, they were 44-44, winning 50% of the time. Not really indicative of a team that's going to be playing in the World Series. Somehow, though, they bounced back and they believed in themselves and they just kept winning and kept winning and kept winning until they got to the World Series. Now, the Houston Astros were by far the favorite. If you watched any of the pregame stuff, you saw that the Astros were picked by all of the announcers and experts. But the Braves were actually doing quite well. In fact, in Game 6, they could win that game and win the World Championship. But let's back up. In Game 6, the pitcher, Max Fried, had really not pitched very well in a previous game in the World Series, and Braves had lost. Now he's pitching in the Game 6 when if they win the World Series. And in that first inning, he made an error and was stepped on at first base. And had a really bad injury, it looked like, to his ankle. Yet he kind of stretched around and came back to the mound and started pitching, and he pitched 6 innings, gave up 4 hits and no runs. He was the winning pitcher for the winning game of the World Series. So here was someone who had encountered total embarrassment, probably. Doubts and fears, I'm sure, crept in, and yet he bounced back. He believed in himself, knowing that he could do it, and he went out and pitched a great game. Also that night, we had Dansby Swanson. Now, he's the shortstop. Dansby had made an error in a previous game that opened the door for the Astros to win. Now, Dansby's a great player, both offense and defense, but he'd made that error. And so now in Game 6, he's at bat. He's got 2 strikes on him, and yet he hits a home run that gave the Braves an extra pad in their score to make sure they won. And later in the game, Dansby had a ball coming at him, at a ground ball coming very quickly. He knew that he didn't have time. He couldn't reach it with his glove to field it and catch it, get it, and throw it to first base. And he reached down with his bare hand and scooped up the ball and threw the runner out, which really was a game-saving almost type play. So here's 2 guys that had faced some difficulties, some challenges, made some mistakes along the way, and yet they bounced back and were keys to winning the winning game of the World Series. So to me, it was just a great lesson. You have to believe in yourself. Dansby had been the #1 draft choice in 2015 of all baseball players in the major leagues. So here's a guy that has proven himself over and over, but yet made a mistake, recognized what it was, but also believed in himself and bounced back. And there's such a great lesson there for all of us, because we all have doubts and fears. We all make mistakes, and we need to be able to bounce back and believe in ourselves and come through. And so as a leader, as an individual, I think there are 4 things we can remember. Is remember that we do have doubts and fears. It's not abnormal. We're human beings. We're not a piece of electric wire or a computer. We have feelings. We have doubts and fears. That's normal. Recognize those, but then you want to remember remember who you are. Remember your success. Remember how you have done things over and over again and been successful. And realize that you just have to believe in yourself and go out and execute. And then we want to reflect. How am I going to respond? What's the best thing for me to do right now? How can I make a good decision? Sometimes we need to get wisdom from others in that decision. We don't have to do it all alone, as leaders especially. And then we go out and respond and act in a way that's going to bring us through in a healthy way, in a successful way, into victory. That works for us as individuals, but also as a leader, you need to keep in mind your responsibility to help people believe in themselves. It is so critical. If you think back about it, you'll recall people who spoke into your life and helped you believe in yourself. Now it's your turn to give back. Encourage people. Let them know you believe in them, especially if you know they're a little bit down. They've had a hit, an error, and now they're a little bit down on themselves. Step into them, remind them of who they are and that you believe in them. And right now, we're such a stressful situation in our world. It's a good time to be proactive about that. Be intentional about reaching out and encouraging others. Let them know how valuable they are, how significant they are, how important they are. And when you do that, you enable them to believe in themselves and go out and hit that home run that's going to win the World Series in your world, in their world. So leaders, individuals, we all need to believe in ourselves, and we need to let others know we believe in them. One thing that seemed kind of clear to me in watching some of the Braves players, they really believed in each other and encouraged each other. And I think that really helped them to rise above that 50-50 situation they were in at mid-year. By believing in themselves, encouraging each other, they became the champions of the world. You can too. Take care and God bless.